So we're interested in your views on what makes the Willamette Valley a good place for innovators and entrepreneurs, and what challenges you think that they face being located here.
Okay, well that's a good question, because eventually several of the companies like Rogue Wave moved out of here. I mean, they moved the headquarters from Corvallis to Boulder. I stayed here, and quite a few of us stayed here and left the company because we weren't willing to move. But there was challenges. Certainly getting VC money into Corvallis at that time was challenging, because Whitaker had been here and had sucked in $35 million of venture capital, and when we went down to California to raise money, the only thing they knew about Corvallis is Teledex, who had basically lost a lot of money for them. Right. They weren't thrilled about another startup in Corvallis that was going to they were going to invest money in. But we got investment from Eldorado Ventures and Menlo Ventures, and eventually they didn't object to it. And so it goes back to the deal: if you got a good idea and the right people, the right product, the right time, money is movable. It will go to wherever the good ideas and good products are, and fund it. It's easier to get funding if you're within a half an hour of somebody's office, but they're still looking, as we say, for the anti-gravity machine. The gravity machine is designed in Corvallis. They will come here and fund it.
Mm-hmm.
See, the Jive Software just got $12 million in funding, but the president had to move down to the Bay Area, so he's left Portland, left a lot of the headquarters, I think, in Portland, but took some key people down to the Silicon Valley.
Yeah. Corvallis tends to be a very technical town, very highly educated town, with a lot of lifestyle people living in this town. So if you're going to be successful here, you need to take advantage of that. So, people here are willing to work for a little less money than they will in the Bay Area, but they also want their weekends off. And so you've got to put that in your corporate culture, that you're going to give them the weekend off, but you're not going to pay them, as much as you do down in the Bay Area, because down in the Bay Area you're expected to work, 70 hours a week. You're not going to get that out of people here. Mm-hmm. People here will work 70 hours a week right before the release of a product, and they'll kill themselves to get it out and do it right. But when it's done, they're going to go hiking for a week, or going for a bicycle ride, whatever they want to do. So, you got to anticipate that is the kind of thing that's going to happen, and take advantage of it. You build it into your schedules. You create a company that fosters that kind of stuff. Instead of giving away a car to people who do great things, you give away mountain bikes.
Mm-hmm. Is that a sustainable business model, though, to keep a seed company, or do you just face what you had to go through, which is you grow to a certain level and then it gets purchased or moves away, even though Rogue Wave still has developers here?
Right. Well, eventually you're going to have offices, sales offices, certainly around the country, because from a sales perspective, if you're a traded sector company and your business is generally done outside of the local area, you need sales offices outside the local area. So that's sort of a given. Can you keep the headquarters here, or do you have to move it to Seattle or San Francisco or Austin or something like that? I think the headquarters of most companies are where the founders are. It's generally that's what centers the company, and so if the founders are here, they want to stay here, they're willing to make that happen, it'll stay here. So it has a lot more to do with personalities and where people want to live than what is the optimal thing for the company.
So in terms of Oregon entrepreneurs versus entrepreneurs from other places, I mean, you were mentioning California, how much different, like, lifestyle wise it is. How do you view them, like, comparing them together?
Well, it goes back to the California guys. They tend to be very intense, very motivated. They tend to be money oriented, so they typically are more expensive. You can work the entrepreneurs up here, like I said, are more of a lifestyle thing, but they're very sharp. I don't think there's a quality difference between how sharp people are down there and how sharp they are up here. I mean, there are a lot of sharp people up here. There's a lot of sharp people down there, don't get me wrong. There's a lot more people down there, so, so by quantity, there's more sharp people down there. But, the environment in California for an entrepreneur, all of the resources are within driving distance for them, whereas if you're sitting in Corvallis or the Willamette Valley, all the resources that you might need are not right here. You might have to jump on a plane to go down to talk to Wilson Sonsini or the venture capitalists or something like that. So, you've got to be willing to go. If you're living here, you got to be willing to go where you need to go to get the resources you want. So, as long as you're flexible in that regard, I think it's, you can get everything you need to get done. You can do it here. There is, it's 2 hours to the airport, but there's places in San Francisco that's 2 hours to the airport.
It's 2 hours across the street sometimes.
Exactly.
How about the quality of the schools? Obviously, you have Stanford and Berkeley, some of the best schools in the world there for engineering and science.
True.
And here we have OSU and U of O. Is that?
Obviously U of O is not that big of a technical school. Certainly OSU is, and certainly with the HP here, which of course is downsizing, but Intel does a lot of work here and stuff. There's good technical talent here. Are the top technical talent in the world in any particular subject here? There are probably one or two guys down there that are better or whatever, but it's, the kind of people you need are generally here. We tried to hire a guy from California once who, when he did his interview, he was one of the top scientists around. He wanted to go to the opera while he was here. Of course, we all chuckled when he says, he wanted to go to the Corvallis Opera. And obviously we knew at that point he was not the kind of person that would want to live in Corvallis.
Right.
But there are some extremely sharp technical people in California who want to live in a town like this. So those are the kind of people you gotta bring in. So there are people that like California. You're not gonna move them away. They want that, that lifestyle. You can't force them up here. It's not gonna work. If they do come up, they'll move away. So you got to take advantage of what we have, the outdoor lifestyle, and those technical people that want that kind of lifestyle are they're looking for it.
It's also interesting that I think we've moved from the basic research and pure science stuff that Bell Labs used to do in Stanford, where you really have the top researchers, and it's moved into more engineering and technical innovation versus innovation for new companies and startups.
I would agree with that. I think that the internet's obviously changed everything for everybody, and that remote development teams work. You don't have to be in the middle of Palo Alto to be able to talk to the people down there. So it's the world has changed in that regard, and that what people really need to be successful is not the idea, but the follow-through on the idea and the distribution channels, which now typically is the internet. Well, you can do that right from here.